all your news, Steven?
Good to go.
Yeah, are you?
I am.
Are you sure?
I hope.
Are you positive?
Nope.
You super duper, fantastically positive?
Not at all.
Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and welcome to RAWtalk episode number 52. We're calling it DSLRs Are Dead. You're gonna have to find out why by listening to this week's podcast, why we are saying DSLRs are dead. Actually, sorry, it's in air quotes. And I'm winking for people at home who are on the podcast, listening to audio. You can't see me winking, but anybody watching video, I'm winking because I don't really believe it, but we'll explain to you why. We've got photo news coming up. We've got gear of the week to talk about. We've got the boot camp and FrotoWALK to talk about. We've got the new iPhone. There's a whole bunch of things going on. Steven is here. Steven.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Do we seem like we're not straight on as much this week?
I usually will slightly go on a little bit of an angle just so I'm not in your shot, my arm.
Did you move? Because you look to be in a different place.
No, I've been here for the past like 4 weeks, but I kind of did it
went
without
further,
telling you.
didn't you?
No, I didn't go any further.
No, it feels awkward.
I'm the same
You're
place
making
I've
me
been.
feel awkward, Steven.
I can move in if you want.
No, because then we already set the camera up. I'm always lined up with this thing, right?
And I'm always right here.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, Steven.
Yes.
How you been?
Been good. How have you been?
I've been all right.
Yeah.
I think.
Busy week?
Aren't they all?
Yeah.
Well, I was in Boston. Might as well just talk about that first.
Yeah, how was that?
FrotoWALK was great. And the boot camp was even great. Well, even better.
I saw a lot of people showed up for that.
Well, we had about almost 40, I think.
Nice.
But I only gave 2 days notice. So that wasn't exactly like a lot of notice for people to either get out of work or schedule time to get there. We found a place in Boston Common to show up and hang out. I took the train up. So the train goes from Philly, stops in New York where we got Adam, and then goes to Boston. There's a bunch of stops in between. It's about a 5 hour and 40-minute train ride.
Really?
Next time I'll probably fly, being that it's only an hour flight.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a really long train ride.
It is, but when you, I probably would have saved 2 hours if I flew. Roughly, because it's an hour flight. You get there an hour and a half early type of thing. Then you have to get out of there. Then you have to get a taxi and all that stuff. Whatever. Went up there. The FrotoWALK was great. We had a kid who had his shirt unbuttoned the whole time.
Ooh.
Yeah, he did. I was like,
he modeling for everyone?
I don't know what he was doing, but what happened was I was talking to everybody, teaching, and then I would like look to the right, and then I was like, is your shirt unbuttoned 4 buttons? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, button it up. I mean, we don't need to see that hairless chest that you have. But anyway, it was fun. People were great. We hung out there for about 2 hours before Adam and I went out to dinner. And then the next day we had the boot camp. The boot camp was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We learned a lot.
How do you figure out where to meet up at and stuff? Like, do people recommend it?
No, I go to Google Maps and I look for a wide open space that's probably like, easy for people to meet at.
We're going to do right there.
Well, yeah. I was like,
in the middle of the ghetto.
No, this was Boston Common. It's a main part, like right in the city.
Yeah.
It's a park. It's near a school. I was like, right there, we'll meet. And you try to pick landmarks so that people show up.
So you don't need to like tell anyone ahead of time. Like I know Philly with their whole historic.
Well, in Manchester, when we showed up, well, actually in Manchester, I got driven there by a cop car.
I saw that.
Yeah. I was in a cop car. And then everybody thought that the cop car was coming to ask them to disperse. And then I jumped out of the car and they're like, oh my God, we'll take pictures. The cop guy was great. The cop guy. But it was funny. It was awesome. We're in that BMW cop car, and he's driving us there. It was awesome.
It looked pretty sweet.
Yeah, but everybody was worried. One of my friends, she's like, yeah, we thought they were going to have us disperse this group because maybe you're not allowed to have like hooliganism or something. But it went well. Boston was fun. Can't wait to go back, see part of the town. The people were great. We learned a lot. Everybody at the boot camp learned a ton. The studio was awesome, and that's really that.
Cool.
We ready for some photo news, Steven?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
I'm sure. I'm absolutely positively sure.
Go.
This is pretty cool.
I was being silent.
We have a new software that was recently demonstrated that extracts.
Steven.
Yes.
No photo news music?
No, I'm pretty bad with that.
You need to get on the ball.
I know. You know how busy I've been this week.
Yeah, you've been busy. You had like 3 concerts to shoot.
I shot 3 concerts in 3 nights in a row, and it's just been really insane. And then I had all these studio sessions at the radio station all week. I've basically been working about 14 days straight.
Did you hear that noise outside, everybody? That's the Wambulance. All right, back to photo news.
We have a new software that was recently demonstrated that extracts 3D objects from regular 2D photos. So that's pretty cool. They use a 3-sweep method, it's called, to extract the object.
See, I'm used to the 2-sweep method.
Basically, what they do is you outline the object, and the software pretty much does the rest. And it takes that image of, say, like a telescope or something like that, wraps it around, rips it out of the photograph, and then pretty much creates a 3D object, which then hopefully in the future you can like duplicate from via a 3D printer.
So
or
you're
something
saying
like
that if we had this bottle sitting in the middle of the thing, we could take a picture of it. It would build the model of it and print it.
Exactly.
That's unbelievable.
It didn't say anything about printing it yet, but basically the software for extracting that and making a 3D model is now available. It's still being demonstrated and all that. I don't think it's been officially released, but it seems like it's going to be a pretty revolutionary thing, especially like these days. So with all the 3D printers and all that, it has some serious potential. There's a preview video of it up too. It has some trouble extracting like more complex objects, like it would skew or warp certain objects. It has to be a pretty well taken picture. But it was pretty much dead on most of the time.
That's cool.
Yeah. We have, I'm going to save this one for last. So we have Olympus announced their new flagship Micro Four Thirds DSLR.
Which I heard nothing about.
It's called the OMD EM1. I don't know why there's so many
OMDs?
Yeah.
EMs?
It's got some really nice specs, though. I didn't expect this, but it does. It accepts every lens, apparently, that Olympus has ever made. It's 16.3 megapixel sensor. It's got a TruePic 7 VII image processor, 10 frames per second, which I did not expect, up to 1/8,000th of a second shutter speed, which usually only the Pro DSLRs have, so that's another thing. ISO sensitivity from 100 to 25,600, 5-axis image stabilization, which apparently is like revolutionary. Full 1080p video, your normal specs after that. $13.99 for the body, so it's not bad. I mean, besides it being a 4/3.
Well, I know that people love this Olympus. It's probably one of the most favorite Micro Four Thirds cameras out there, that people just like what they've created. Their lenses have always been spectacular, and they've created something nice here. But I don't ever hear anything about it. I've never played with one.
Yeah, I've never ever used one.
And that's really that. I mean, I personally am not a Micro Four Thirds fan. If you're going to spend $1,300 or $1,400 for a body, you could get a D600, you could get a 6D, you could get a 70D, you know, and then put some glass on it. Again, it comes down to what people want to do. Don't yell at me for saying stuff like that, but I'm a DSLR person. That's what I am. Yeah. That's why I push that out there. Just because I'm not into the Micro Four Thirds doesn't mean that it's not right for somebody. So cut me a break.
And a lot of the Micro Four Thirds cameras are usually like the more smaller point and shoot bodies kind of thing. This one's actually a pretty bulky, bigger body. So in my opinion, I would probably go for the higher end DSLR or something that's the same price but a better sensor or whatever it may be. We have a behind the scenes video of Kate Upton, her photo shoot with Annie Leibovitz for Vanity Fair's 100th anniversary edition and October issue. It's now online. It features pretty much showcases what goes on in a commercial shoot. There's like 10 people, a whole photo team. There's hair, makeup, art design. Must be pretty nice.
Boob design.
To
make sure that Upton stays inside.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's all online.
Annie probably made like $1 million for that photo shoot.
I bet.
She gets so much. I think she made like $58 million last year. Or Terry Richardson made $52 million.
What do you think her like assistants make? Good money?
We could ask one.
We should try and get them on RAWtalk or something.
I mean,
see what it's like to work with the one.
I doubt they would. I doubt they would even tell you.
I know,
because
sure
we know how it works.
Yeah,
you know how these photo shoots work. People set it up for you. I mean, that's what happens as a photographer. They know what you're looking for. You come in, you direct the photo shoot, but most of the stuff is there. Yeah, Annie goes ahead and they make the and most commercial photographers, they come up with what are those things? What are those things? Like line drawings for what they want to do,
like
where they want the lights, how they want it.
Yeah,
the concept. They come up, they conceptualize what they want, then they give it to the next people to build the sets, to get the lighting right. Come in, move a few things. Move that there, move that there, move that there. Take the pictures, direct the guy.
Yeah, it looked like regarding art design, the only thing that was really made for the shoot was like this kind of like half crescent moon thing that she was like sitting on. Yeah,
I have to watch it. Go ahead. Speaking of crescent moons and sitting on things, Terry Richardson directed a new video called "Wrecking Ball" by Miley Cyrus. Did you watch this?
I did.
First off, before we even get into her being naked in the whole thing, Did you see numerous times the GoPros
The
fall
GoPro
off
angle
the wall
on the wrecking ball?
No, I saw. No, there was a GoPro. Yes, but if you watch during the thing, when the first wrecking ball hits, there's a GoPro across the way on the wall.
You can see it?
You can see the Gorilla Pod. You can see the GoPro. There's another time where it hits the wall and the GoPro falls and hits the ground with the Gorilla Pod.
Wow.
I don't
I did
know
not see
how
that
they
at all.
left that in there.
Yeah, that's...
Of all things to leave in there.
editor might have messed up on that.
I see it over there. I saw it 3 times.
I
saw
only
the
just
GoPro.
noticed that it was a GoPro angle just because of the quality and all that kind of stuff.
They just expect that you're going to be looking at Miley Cyrus being naked on a wrecking ball, licking the.
That's
licking
what I did.
I
didn't even notice
sledgehammer.
it.
I mean, she doesn't even need
Dude, that video's
what's
got
next
like,
for her?
That's got 11 million views as of like yesterday. This is also probably a week, but this is like the day after it came out. So
Yeah, I mean,
for those at home,
right.
wondering. Already 11 million views. That's insane.
But see, that doesn't matter anymore. That used to be like a big feat. Everybody like, oh my god! But there's so many videos that do that now.
Yeah.
But it's just it's sex. When's her porn coming out?
Well, and people want to know what she's going to do next because of what she's been doing.
You know what she's going to do next? Earmuffs. Earmuffs.
What's she going to do?
Earmuffs. 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 Anal's next.
She's already
Backdoor Teen Mom Part 2. You know, Farrah Abraham.
Touché.
And I warned of earmuffs. I warned earmuffs. So anybody who didn't hear my earmuff statement, you can't complain. But that's what can she do next that's shocking? She's naked in a video swinging on a thing. She twerked her way on.
She hasn't really hit the Lindsay Lohan low yet, has she? With like drugs and all that.
Yeah,
yet?
well, she did a while back.
I know, like
she was the salvia when she was smoking
but
that
like,
stuff.
Not like terrible. Like
she's not old enough
shit.
to drink yet, but she is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But whatever. She's naked, and we're spending a lot of time on this.
Anyway.
Check out that video. It's shot very well. It's shot. I mean, the lighting's great.
It's
singing.
very basic though.
Well, it's straight basic.
Yeah.
But it's her on a wrecking ball, and then it's her on a white background, naked. Just her face and her mouth.
She licks the hammer a lot.
Why is she licking a hammer, Steven? I mean, gee, what is that hammer? Is it Thor? Anyway, right after that, Steven, why don't I take a break to say who is sponsoring this week?
Who's sponsoring?
This week is brought to you by Nikon-A-Palooza or Allen's Nikon-A-Palooza. Guys, September 21st, that is a Saturday. It's coming up very soon at Allen's Camera, which is in Levittown, PA. You can go to the website. It's the first blog post. There's an advertisement on the right-hand side. You can click that. It's going to tell you where we're going to be, what's going on. There's going to be thousands of dollars in free prizes. We're giving away a Nikon D7100, a Nikon AW100, I think. I don't know. It's something like that. And all used gear is 10% off. That doesn't have to be Nikon. It's any used gear in the store is 10% off during Nikon-A-Palooza or Allen's Nikon-A-Palooza. There's also going to be a taco truck. The first 200 people will get a free taco meal. Just come on inside, get your ticket to go in there and get your taco at the taco truck. You're going to get 3 nice tacos. They're really good. I've tried them. Actually, I'm hungry right now for tacos.
I'm starving.
I really want to go get some tacos. Maybe after my phone call at 1:30, we'll go get tacos.
I'm game.
What time are you out of here?
Like 3:30?
I have a call at 3:32. All right. So maybe we'll do that. But big thanks to Nikon for sponsoring that. Big ups to Allen. We're going to have a really cool... We have a porta potty coming too.
Oh.
We thought ahead. Porta potty.
Has he decided if it's going to be Nikon or Allen's, or have you got feedback
I've done
from that?
both. I'm just doing both.
What have people been saying? I know you asked in the hashtag.
I think people have been saying both Allen's Nikon-A-Palooza and Nikon Allen's-A-Palooza.
Interesting.
I think it's Allen's Nikon-A-Palooza probably sounds better because it's Allen's. It's sponsored by Nikon, even though it's Nikon sponsoring and it's Allen's. I think it goes both ways, like Miley Cyrus.
You just definitely confused everyone.
But it goes both ways. September 21st, that's a Saturday from 11 to 4. There's a ton of prizes, thousands of dollars of worth of gear. You must be there. We'll try to do something online as a giveaway as well. There's going to be other specials we can't even talk about. I saw one for Vanguard. If you need a nice tripod,
good.
If you need, I've seen the price of where it's going to be. I know the normal price and I know what it's going to be. I suggest that somebody comes. There's like 10 or 12 of them that are going to be for sale. It's kind of like a lightning deal.
Nice.
You're going to save almost.
I need a new tripod.
It's a good amount.
Mine's like falling apart.
Steven, how many tripods do you have for me that you've borrowed?
I don't have any.
But you borrow them all the time.
I've borrowed them once.
Why don't you borrow one more often?
I don't really use my tripod.
Anyway, how are we doing on time?
We're taking a long time on this, but we're 15 minutes in.
All right. Well, I'm going to reset your camera.
All right,
Why don't you go into
on.
news?
So we got next up a video of a wedding photographer's camera bag with $6,000 worth of gear and it being stolen. It was posted this week. Whole video of it. There's like a GoPro angle from like I guess of the actual reception or the ceremony itself, and you see the guy in the background who looks like a tourist just walking around, all that stuff, and it happens to be a thief that goes and waiting for the right moment and steals all his stuff. So basically, he checks to see if it's all clear. He walks away, steals the whole Pelican case full of lenses only. There was no memories lost. There was no memory card specifically, so that's the good thing.
I hope he had lens tag.
I hope he did too. Or if he rented them and had insurance or something like that.
What kind of gear was it?
It didn't say what kind of gear. He didn't say at all. We also have, the culprit was never caught either.
They haven't caught him, but they have it on camera?
They have him on camera, but he's pretty far in the back. You can't really tell.
So
like,
he's not a member of the party?
He's not a member of the party, apparently.
Just somebody that where was this?
This was in Vancouver.
British Columbia,
Exactly,
Those Canadians,
So it looked like he was just a tourist, and like the photographer actually thought that he was a tourist, just walking around, like snapping some photos.
Was this indoors?
This is outdoor ceremony, and he kind of walked the perimeter of it, checked to see what was going on, who was there, who was watching, and then you see him like 5 minutes in, walk to the back, grab the Pelican bag, and just walk off.
Screw that guy.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just a reminder for people out there, like, you know, this is a lesson to be learned. If you have an assistant, make sure your gear's with them or something like that. Make sure it's being watched.
Make sure it's insured. Make sure you've got your lens tag set up, lenstag.com.
Yeah, lenstag.com. This is a perfect reason to get that started. So yeah, check out that video. You can watch the...
And maybe if you know this guy, contact the... Contact the mounted police there in Vancouver, British Columbia, They'll come out. No, not They're just not Canadian, yo. Hey, get me some beer. Some beer, Well, let's watch some hockey. We're going to watch some hockey, You know? Those are you and your clown shoes, you flappy clown shoes. Pascal, don't yell at me. Pascal won't yell because he's French-Canadian. Be like, hey, I'm French-Canadian, Be like, gee, le bieu. Le bieu, that's goal.
I don't know.
Le bat's bleu. Steven, close your eyes.
Why?
Don't look. You got to trust me.
I'm closing my eyes. You got to trust
me. Move your paper. All right. Keep them closed.
I'm closing my eyes.
Keep them closed.
They're closed.
Don't open them till I tell you to open them.
I'm not opening them.
All right? Don't open them yet. No.
You're getting naked or something?
No, I'm not getting naked. Okay, you can open your eyes now. You didn't buy this lens yet, did you?
I did not.
Thank God.
I did not.
Because if you bought that lens, I would yell so much at you right now and call myself an asshole for getting you something that you already had.
This is awesome,
For those who don't know.
This is mine? This is really mine?
Yeah, it's your birthday gift. It's your
That's sick,
thank you for hard work gift. It's your holiday gift.
You have no idea how long I've been wanting this lens for.
It's probably next year's gift too.
Literally, I'm fine with that, dude. This is an expensive gift, and I completely appreciate it. Yeah, I've wanted this lens since like it freaking came out, and I've rented it so many times for weddings or for shoots or whatever it may be, and now I actually own it. That's crazy.
You own it. It's in your bag. By the way,
huge gesture, dude. Thank you.
For anybody that you're welcome. For anybody that doesn't know, on Steven's birthday, I got him I bought him the 16 to 35 because I didn't think he had it. This is why it's hard to buy gifts for pros, or not pros, but for photographers. If you don't know what they have, it's just hard.
Because they already have
because they have it. But anyway, so we already had that. We put that on the table. He's like, I already have this. And I just felt like a douchebag because I was like,
I didn't know what to do. I was like,
I already have it. So anyway, I took it back to Alan's.
Was he cool with it?
Yeah, because he never I didn't even give him a check yet.
Okay, good.
I took the lens and didn't give him a check.
Just taking a $1,600 lens.
That's what I do. We work together like that. Anyway, cool. I paid him for this one, wrote him a check. So this is your birthday gift. Thank you for the hard work on RAWtalk and all the editing and all the extra stuff. And
thank you, man.
Probably your holiday gift.
Yeah, yeah. This is the biggest gift I think any one person has ever given me.
It's not the biggest gift I've given, though.
That's huge. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
No, Steven. I bought my dad a pinball machine.
How much was that?
$3.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where do you buy something like that? At eBay?
No. There's a place called TNT Amusements in
put this right here.
There's a place called TNT Amusements.
Actually, that might throw up the GoPro.
Yeah, to throw that on the floor.
I'm going to put that over here. Let me just chuck it.
There's a place that you can do that. They have games, they retrofit games that you pay a little premium.
It's like a custom kind of thing.
Well, they've been in business for over 30 years, or 20 some years. And I used to have birthday parties there. It's a local place. You could rent it out and have parties there and
cool.
play all the games. It's like $200. You can play all the games for 2 hours, get beer, pizza.
I like that you are very into local stuff.
Well, yeah, it's
local
local
business, like
so
help the small guy out kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, it was a Father's Day type gift.
That's cool.
I went there, picked out the one I wanted, paid them for it, told them when I wanted it delivered when my dad wasn't there. Then I left a note on the floor before I went out that was like, go into the family room and plug it in.
Yeah.
So then, of course, I got a phone call. He was really happy. He's always wanted a pinball machine since he was a kid. I mean,
That's
he grew
awesome.
up in the 50s
When those
and the
things
60s,
were
and
the
that's
big
what
thing.
they did. That was big. Pinball was big. Okay. Steven's
Thank you
gift.
again, though. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Cross off the list. Next.
Cross off the list. Well, speaking of getting married, going back to that story, we have a really interesting horror-themed engagement shoot that popped up online, which was recreated as a comic strip. That's the cool part about it. Wedding photography group 11 Photo did the shoot, and the outcome comes complete with like comic bubbles and all. Like it looks like almost like that chewing gum comic that you used to check out.
You mean Joe Bazooka?
Bazooka, yeah.
Bazooka Joe?
It was kind of like a comic strip like that.
You know there's Jewish Bazooka Joe, right? It's
No
kosher.
way.
Yeah, we used to get it at synagogue in the gift shop. You would get it was like 10 cents for. I like the purple one more than the regular flavor.
You like purple
because I
everything.
like grape. Yeah, that's why I like grape. I also like grape blow pops, but I do like cherry blow pops as well.
I haven't had blow pop in freaking years.
I was at BJ's yesterday buying 6 gallons of apple juice, as you saw, and I walked past a blow pop. All I want is one. The thing to remember is
but
that when
they
you
sell like 30 of them in one.
well, it's a whole case. Well,
Yeah.
you don't want that's the thing with BJ's. Just because you can buy in bulk doesn't mean you should. I only buy the things in bulk that I need.
That you know that you're going to use.
I'm not going to buy bulk food. Like I'm not going to buy bulk candy because you're going to eat it. So if you want a piece of candy, go get a small bag.
Yeah.
That's my mentality. That's what I'm telling you people out there.
That's the lesson from
That's
today's
a
show.
lesson from today's show. Just because you can buy in bulk doesn't mean you should. I buy a lot of pistachios.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, we're getting off course here. But hey, I like getting off course. And by the way, if you put a filter on that lens, I will pound your face.
I usually just put a UV filter, but I don't put shitty UV filters though.
No filter on that lens.
All right, I won't put any
If you
filter on that lens.
put a filter on that, you're gonna have to spend like $100 for a B+W.
That's what I buy. I only buy the B plus
whatever,
W
that's up to
lenses.
you.
Because, dude, I remember I bought the Canon generic one before, and I bought the B plus W one, or is it B and W? I
No,
don't know.
it's B
plus
and W.
Okay, so B and W. I bought that one as well, and I compared the two. It's like the Canon was like a hazy, like this one looked like it was
A
clear.
hazy shade of purple.
Yeah, the B and W one though looked like there was nothing there. It was crazy.
Alan sells those. Those are the
But
top
they're so
of the line.
expensive.
Well, but you are not going to take one of the most sharp lenses
Exactly.
and put a piece of crap in front of it. Like when Borrow Lenses sends me lenses,
They come
with filters
Yeah.
for no particular purpose. I said to them, why
Probably
are you
for
sending me a
themselves to protect.
ProMaster freaking... Like, because anybody who doesn't know, they'll leave the ProMaster filter on it. I'm like, guys, if you're going to send me a filter, send me a filter. But I just take it off and I throw it in the box.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do too. But like all my lenses, I went and took all the Canon ones off, and I put all B and W ones.
That's
on.
one thing to remember. If you are going to buy filters for your pro gear,
Buy the good
you put
stuff.
quality filters on it. And if anybody at a store tells you, well, it's really for protection. Yeah, I get it. I guess if you're going to bump your freaking lens off the ground and stuff like that. But would you rather have quality images, or would you rather have them be less than sharp because of the freaking crappy ProMaster filter that's put on the end of it?
Yeah, I felt like with my generic ones that it was to the point where it wasn't focusing as well as it does now.
Yeah.
It was a big difference.
Yep.
So anyway, just finishing up and wrapping up that story. It's not really for everyone, but it's a really cool concept. Something that's definitely worth into looking to. Maybe like
I didn't finish my Bazooka Joe story.
presenting to a client, something
I didn't
like
finish
that.
my Bazooka
That
Joe.
is done. Finish the story.
Yeah, but I wanted to lead back into this.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did, personally. The Bazooka Joe thing, they would give it to you, and the comics would be in Hebrew.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
They were Hebrew.
I wonder how, is that like worldwide, you think?
Of course Bazooka Joe's worldwide.
No, I'm saying the Hebrew version.
Well, you could get it. I mean, the synagogue store bought it.
Interesting.
So that they could sell it to us kids. Sugar. Anyway, I like what people are doing with these creative things.
Yeah.
That means they thought of an idea, they thought of how to execute it, and then they executed it. That is being creative. You're doing something different than what people are doing most of the time. It's great.
And looks great.
Yeah,
Like,
it's cool.
and it's cool because like even like some of the comics, like it's like the old school Batman ones where like they're trying to punch someone, it's like pow, and sure it's like the
Yeah, that's fun.
You know, yeah.
That's fun.
yeah.
Next.
Next we have Kodak has officially emerged from Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Yeah, as what?
Which they declared almost 2 years ago. Well, now they're going to focus entirely on business imaging solutions. So their CEO, Antonio Perez, he broke it down basically, and he says they'll focus on, in quotes, packaging, graphic communications, and functional printing, end quote. All three based on Kodak's commercial printing technology.
I'm shaking my head beyond belief. Kodak is a industrial printing company now, and they have nothing to do with imaging and photos other than printing.
Yep.
And it's not even home
film
printing. One of their biggest downfalls years ago, five or so years ago, was doing this major push for home printing. They're like, oh, we just sell you one cartridge. And it was just bullshit. It was just such crappy quality that they came out with. They buried themselves.
I agree. I totally agree. I think they never kept up on the digital age. They were stuck in the film age and all that stuff. They just never caught up.
Well, it's the same thing that happened with Polaroid.
And all the film companies are doing.
These people thought that they were going to kill their own sales.
Yeah.
They thought that if they stopped shooting film, or if they went to digital, then who's going to buy film? They didn't realize. I mean, Kodak used to make those original digital cameras. You used to see the Nikon one made off of the D90. Sorry, the N90, which is hanging on my door. It had that long, like this much extra space on the bottom. That's about 8 inches of extra space down on the bottom. That's where it stored these huge flash cards. They weren't flash memory.
Like floppy disks.
Well, they weren't floppies, but it was like a solid state thing back then. Didn't have a lot of space on it, but that's how they stored it. And they would just take regular cameras and then retrofit them. Kodak would do this for Nikon, and they'd do it for Canon, and they were about $20,000. The stuff was insane. They had a leg up. And they let it go.
When I worked in the photo lab for some 8 years or so, we had technicians come in every now and then to, say, fix the machine or fix the processor, something along those lines, or dump chemicals if needed. And I think I went through maybe like 15 technicians within a couple of years just because they all got either laid off or they all just left, went for something better. Like, they just always complained all the time.
Did Kodak even make a wet process machine? I mean, you had the Noritsu machine.
No, we had Noritsus or Kiss or Gray Tags, but they were the ones that were supplying it, and basically they supplied all the chemicals at first. Yeah, and they had the contract to fix anything.
Oh, that's right. Kodak makes the paper. Kodak made the chemicals, because I know
we had the paper and the chemicals from
Newtown Camera. Do they even still make paper?
They make paper still, yeah, but only, I don't think, for personal consumer.
No, I mean photo paper.
Yeah, Kodak is. Yeah.
They're still doing that because Fuji. First off, I love the Fuji archival paper so much more than the Kodak.
Yeah, I agree.
I've always thought that. The Fuji archival is just so much more punchy, and you know me with punch.
You do.
Yeah,
love it.
The Kodak never had that color.
It was a little flatter, I would say.
Yeah, there was just something about that Fuji stuff that I loved.
And it depends what processor's printing it as well.
Right. Well, I found some labs that only printed that. Even on lower end stuff, it still looked good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we have... Moving on, going way back to with this one, early photographs taken during the end of child labor in the U.S. has been added to the Library of Congress. Some really interesting stuff taken by photographer Louis Hine, who the National Child Labor Committee.
Speaking of Hine,
hired back in 1908.
Speaking of Hine, what do you think of Haim?
Haim,
the band, not Haim. It's Hiam.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, Haim. They were good. I mean, they weren't great.
So you want to know something horrible?
What?
So
they like barely wore clothes.
So, I think they're 2 for 3 are lesbians, or 1 for 2, because I think the bass player isn't. I think the bass player used to date Jonah Hill.
Really?
Yeah. Remember when I said hi to her backstage?
Yeah.
Do you know why I kept walking when she started to come towards me to talk?
Why?
Because what the hell was I going to say? Stop making weird bass faces.
So Jared and I both shot that set during Made in America, and every single song she was just like I just couldn't get a good expression out of her. She was like so into it, but like she wasn't meaning to be like horrible
nice.
faces.
They're all nice.
She was just getting into it.
The music, I didn't know Jay-Z signed them.
Yeah, they're
blowing
they don't
up.
have a full length out yet, and they're blowing up.
So the problem is, I came home and I played Meg some Haim. So then the next day she comes back. She's like, I've been listening. She had all the facts about them.
Really?
She went and read up everything about them. She's like, I love them.
I just researched the Wikipedia page.
She loved them.
Their one song, "Falling," is kind of catchy, dude. I will say.
There's one catchy song, and then the rest are just feminist dribble.
Yeah.
That she loves.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the women are more drawn to women who play music. And I'm sorry for going off on a tangent, but this is my god-darn podcast. And if I want to talk about mucus, I'm going to talk about it, especially Haim. But hold on. So Meg now loves them.
Does she really?
Yes.
That's
and
funny.
I'm like, Meg, I've seen them
I hope
twice.
she plays them all the time in front of you.
I'm like,
You're
whatever.
gonna be like,
it's not that bad, Steve. It really
you weren't
isn't.
a huge fan of them that day.
I'm not. I've seen them twice now.
Yeah.
And so have you.
I have. Where was the other time we?
At Mumford & Sons.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
They're not that bad. They're just not that good.
Yeah.
The album is better. Listening to the EP is better than listening to them try to whine live through the microphone.
I agree. And their sound was kind of weird that day, so.
Okay.
Anyway.
Now back to your regularly scheduled podcast of RAWtalk.
Well, photographer Lewis Hine, who the National Child Labor Committee hired back in 1908, he was hired to showcase basically what was going on in the factories and all the little kids running around working. So Hine called it detective work, since he was pretty much very discreet and sneaky about photographing the factories and the kids. He would gain access into the workspace by assuming a new persona each time. It ranged from everything from like a Bible salesman to postcard salesman to even an industrial photographer making a record of factory machinery.
That's cool.
And if they denied him access, he just pretty much waited outside for the kids to enter and exit the factories. But it showcases kids aging from like 5 to 15.
What site is this on?
This is I'm going to post them on our site.
Yeah, everything will be on our site. But who found it?
The Library of Congress.
Really?
Library of Congress. Yeah.
That stuff, I have to see.
There's
these.
a ton of them.
I mean, could you imagine being 5 years old and sent to work?
Dude, and these kids that are like 5, they're like smoking cigarettes, cigars, or
So what year?
They're picking cotton. 1908 is when he started.
So if
and
you
I
were
think
like,
it was up to like 1924 that he finished.
How hard of a life.
Yeah.
You're 5 to 15, working factory job, 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah, these kids were
5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
What were they making in 1910?
It looked like the really young ones, like 5 to 7 or 8, were like outside working, like doing the picking cotton, that kind of stuff. And the older ones were in the factories doing the hard stuff.
Who invented the cotton gin?
I don't know.
Eli Whitney.
Okay. Fun fact of the day.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it about that story. There's really, really interesting pictures just to
I can't
see
wait
how
to see
it was
those.
back in the day.
I need to look at those.
We have.
I'm going to reset your camera.
Should I
and
go
mine.
to the iPhone news or to the Photoshop news?
Let's do the Photoshop, the cloud.
So we have a pretty big thing for the cloud. We have Adobe. Now, guys, this one got announced literally like an hour after we finished RAWtalk last week, which when this comes out will be 2 weeks prior. So you're going to be like, oh, this is old news, blah, blah, blah. But this is big news, and we have to talk about it. And again, we missed it last week because it was announced right after. But Adobe announced the new Photoshop photography program, revealing that you can now rent Photoshop and Lightroom for $9.99 a month or subscribe to it. You'll get 20 gigabytes of cloud storage and a Behance membership.
I still don't know what Behance is.
I have no idea what Behance is. I was debating on even including that. You need to own a copy, though, of CS3 or higher to qualify for that price range. And
is that a bootlegger hire?
Yeah, right.
I mean, how are they going to track my CS4?
I was going to say, I may or may not have some bootlegged copies of CS4.
I hope I'm eligible for this.
But mine still upgrades.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
I've never upgraded mine.
Mine upgrades and gets like the live everything, and it works flawlessly. So, because I paid for it, you know. But for those that jumped on the subscription only model at $20 a month a couple months ago, they will automatically get switched to the new rate again if they have CS3 or higher.
But they're not getting a credit.
Yeah, they're not going to get a credit or grandfathered in or anything
what
like
is
that.
it? It's $9.99 for Lightroom and Photoshop?
And Photoshop.
Both
and then
together, or is it? Are they separate $9.99
It seems like it's
each?
going to be both together. You can pretty much do a Photoshop, Lightroom, and then that Behance membership, and you get that 20 gigs of cloud storage.
I'm probably still going to buy Lightroom 5 straight up for $79.
Yeah, well, I don't really use Photoshop that much. I mean, I use it, but not enough to, I don't know, pay.
Well, I use it for the graphic layouts.
Yeah.
Things that... I mean, I haven't upgraded for a reason.
More for not photography stuff, more like graphic design
well,
related.
Yeah,
is what
layouts
I use it for.
and editing like my logo and doing things with it. That's what I use it for.
That's pretty much what I use it for too.
But for $9.99, it is now an option that's affordable, more affordable because that's $120 a year.
It's not bad at all.
Opposed to spending $600, $700, $800 for the software.
Yeah. Or if you get the suite, then you know how much. It's like $2,000 or some crazy insane number. And then, do you want to move on to the?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the final news story of the day. This is a long news portion that we've been doing.
That's okay with me, Steven.
I think it's interesting stories this week.
I think this is what a podcast is all about.
Yeah.
Us having discussions.
I agree. So we have Apple unveiled the new iPhone, the new camera, via the iPhone 5S and the more affordable 5C. It has more resolution this time. It's boosted up from 5 to 8 megapixels. It's 15% larger sensor, they're saying, with bigger pixels, 1.5 micron pixels specifically. Oh, yeah. And it has a wider aperture lens at f2.2, supposedly a 33% increase in light sensitivity, which is good. It has a new dual flash.
Now with 10 times more sensitivity.
A new dual flash that uses a special true tone white and amber LED to adjust color temperature based on your room.
I love how they can take something like the flash and blow it out, like be like, this flash is amazing. It
I
can
know.
make 1,000 different color combinations to make every skin tone work right.
It's going to be the best flash ever, and it's going to be just as crappy probably as every other.
It's going to be a little better, and it's a progression.
But now that is only available on the 5S, not the 5C.
So let's not even talk about the 5C.
That's pretty much
because we're here to talk about the photo
5S.
aspects of the 5.
It also has auto image stabilization. It'll combine multiple photos too, taken at once to create the sharpest possible image. That's pretty cool. And it has 10 frames per second burst mode. That's new, which will suggest the best picture in the end when you take those 10 pictures.
I wonder if it deletes the other ones that you don't use.
That's what I was wondering too, because I would love that option if it deletes them. But
well, I wouldn't love that option. I still want to sit there and try to capture the moment properly.
I agree,
Even with
but it's
the
my
iPhone.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah, but now go ahead, keep going. And I'll get to my stuff about it.
Upgrading to video, they have a decent upgrade. You can now shoot 120 frames per second at 720p, and they also have a new slow-mo app where you can edit it and make it
select
slow-mo.
a certain point to do slow-mo.
Exactly, and you can trim it and all that. And it's available September 20th, is what they're saying.
In the stores.
In the stores
for the
only.
5C.
You can't pre-order it.
For the 5S, sorry.
And 16 gig, 32, 64 gig models, they're starting at $199 at 16 gigs. So
on a 2-year contract.
On a 2-year contract.
So I wrote some things down here.
Yeah.
This is why we're talking about DSLRs are dead as the subject line. Did Apple kill the DSLR? They'd like to think that they did.
They do.
So they said things like, who needs to learn everything about photography when you have the iPhone? I'm not going to rip on them for that because they did put it all into context where they're like, if you want to learn that stuff, that's perfectly fine. But we know that most people just want to take pictures in full auto. It does auto white balance. It does auto matrix metering. It does auto focus. That's fine. I think this may be what?
I do wish they gave the option of doing like manual functions or something.
It would be cool.
Because it always blows out. Like if I'm at a concert trying to just get a snapshot
That's why you
of it
have to
or
touch
something.
a certain thing.
Yeah, well, the highlights are always way too blown out.
Well, here's what I'll say is like, I think I'm going to pick up a 5S just to shoot a concert.
That would be really
coming up
cool.
on the 29th. So if somebody gets one in Philly or something before me,
And we'll let you borrow it.
and will let me because what sucks is you can't pre-order it because I would have pre-ordered it and then gotten it before the shoot. I may have to go find one at a store. I'm hoping I'm going to buy the white one because I think more people like the black and more people are going to want the gold
It'll be easier
than
to
want
get.
the white. So maybe it's easier to get. And this time I may go with a 32 gig instead of the 16. I don't think I want a 64 personally. But hey, if somebody gets it before me and they're in Philly and they want to take a ride to a concert and let me borrow the phone to take pictures, let me know because I want to try shooting a whole concert with it. I'm going to slap the GoPro to my head. I'm going to wear it there so we have the first-person shooter. And if Steven makes it to the concert, he's going to shoot it along with me. But here's some other things. This is why I think that this is important to photography, the way that the guys, Phil Schiller and all those guys were talking about the iPhone. They started to mention things. I keep looking over there. I could look at you because why not? Because it's a podcast. They're starting to mention things that will make non-photographers start to understand some photography terms. f2.2 lens.
I am surprised they brought all that up. The aperture, the sensor.
Let me get to that.
Yeah.
f2.2 lens, it lets in more light. They're starting to say it has 5 elements. It's our design. It does this. It gives sharper images. So they're starting to talk about the importance of having fast glass. 2.2, it's wider than last time. So that lets in more light. So then they say, in quotes, we know a secret. It's actually bigger pixels that make a better picture.
No way.
So they said that. They were taking a direct knock at the Nokia Lumina that's 41 megapixels.
Which is insane.
Why not, again, they spent a whole segment talking about the size of the pixels that the sensor is larger, which equals better images. So now that Apple goes ahead and says this and everybody reports it, people are going to start to realize that, it's about bigger sensors, better pixels. That's what it's all about. Better quality, not 41. That seems to be a Microsoft thing to do.
Better resolution.
No, it's not about the more you can squeeze on there because this is going to be better in low light. That's what a lot of people shoot in. So I think that is an important thing. This is actually a good thing. It gets people thinking.
Definitely.
And that's what it's about. I think that is what I took home from there. I don't take home that they're going to take away from photographers because if people are going to shoot with it, you still can't change lenses. You can buy attachments, but it's not going to be as
full
good.
Auto.
Yeah, it's full auto, and sure, you can get other apps to use it for, but the iPhone is something that is getting people interested in photography. If people start capturing images there, they may want to graduate to the next camera.
Definitely.
I think Nikon should strike a deal with with Apple. Somebody should, just to get their name branded on, like, we're making the glass, you know, stuff like that. But
I'm surprised they don't announce that information too, like who makes the glass.
Apple
or that
said
kind
that
of
they made it. You
Do
know,
they? Yeah.
Is it glass or is it plastic anyway?
Well, just because they already listed all the other specs, I'm surprised they didn't get like, oh, it's Zeiss glass too, or
well,
something like that, or
Sony.
whatever.
I mean, who knows what they'll do? But
Yeah.
that's an interesting thing. So I think it's a good thing for photography.
Definitely.
It seems like it's better. I would like to see a easier way to shoot photos, something easier to hold. But
Well, you got the Sony QX100 now.
Yeah, but
Lens camera.
But Apple's starting. Well, yeah, it doesn't zoom and all that. Anyway, is that photo news?
That is photo news for this week.
That went on for a while,
That
Steven.
did go on for a while,
But
it
that's
was good stuff.
I
think
like
it was-
these discussions.
Yeah, I think people will find this stuff interesting. Hopefully.
We're up to gear of the week.
Cool.
Last week I had the big shot camera. I still have to put that thing together.
Yeah, we got to do a
That's
video
an
of that.
$89 thing. We're going to do that. We've just really busy, especially both of us going away next week.
Yeah.
September. I'm 17th, 18th, and 19th. I'm away in Seattle.
I know.
I'll be on Creative Live, people, for an hour and a half. You probably will already know this stuff, but I'm doing the exposure triangle, the very basics of photography. They asked me what kind of model I want. They
Ooh.
did. They're like, what kind of model do
Can
you
we
want?
get Kate Upton?
No, well, they asked me what kind of model. I said, find the most athletic girl that you can find because I'm going to make her do things. Not on me, but I'm going to make her
I was
do
gonna say
things.
that sounded real bad for a
Yeah,
second.
no, Meg, I hope she's not listening because she'll get upset. But I have to. It's like a show. We'll
Yeah.
have a model. I'll interact with her.
That's cool.
I'll tell her to do stuff.
You're gonna be very flirty. I feel like not on purpose, but
Of
that's
course
just how you
it's all
naturally
purpose.
are.
No, Steven, I'm not like
I'm
that.
just kidding.
I don't just flirt with everybody. Anyway, gear of the week.
The gear of the week this week is very cool. Actually, I'm pretty excited about it.
This is the Canon 70D.
That's actually heftier than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, it's heftier. So this camera came, and the lens right here is a 40 millimeter pancake. The reason I asked for that is because it's one of those STM lenses, so you can get the silent focusing. Borrow Lenses sent me this out. You can buy them new at Alan's Camera. He has them in stock.
Looks more like the 70 than the 60D. I would
Does
say.
it?
Yeah.
I tested out the focusing thing a few minutes ago before we started.
Yeah, it's like a pinhole, that lens.
Well, yeah,
That's crazy.
it's a small lens, but when I tested out the focusing thing, it's really cool because you can focus on, say, this in the foreground, and then have it and then touch the back of the screen. Touch it.
Okay.
It will focus here. It's a little slow, but it's smooth.
Is it?
It's not terribly slow, but it slowly
Do you think they did
fades
that
in.
on purpose?
No, I don't think they have the technology to do
Yet.
it really fast yet.
Yeah.
But I can go from focusing right here on you. I could cut this in if I put a card in here. You could cut it into the video.
Oh yeah.
But we're not. We're not
well.
going to do that. I'm going to try to shoot a concert with it.
Sure, we'll get a review
But
and stuff.
I can focus right here. I just tap it. Boom. It focuses.
So
and then
it's
I
almost
want to
like the
switch.
iPhone.
Yeah, then I switch focus and now it's on your shirt.
Interesting.
Just
and then
by
that,
touching it. And it moves in a smooth manner. It doesn't hunt.
and that has like the AI servo kind of autofocus as you go too, right? Isn't that-
No, I didn't put that on. It's manual.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not tracking. It's only going where I touch. I have to
But
read
they're
it.
saying you now, that's the big thing for the 70D, I thought, with
What,
that
for
new
tracking?
dual pixel sensor they have or whatever. Yeah.
That's for doing this type of stuff. I have to try it. I haven't set it up at all.
Yeah. That looks really cool though. I'm tempted to get one myself as like a backup camera, but it's cropped.
Don't
so-
do that, man.
Yeah. I
You
don't
don't
know.
do that.
I was going to wait for the 70 Mark II and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe they'll probably put the technology in there, but you still need one of those STM lenses. I haven't tried the 51.8 on it that I have sitting over there.
What do you
51.2.
mean? Why do you need an STM?
I don't know
lens?
because it's a smoother focus, but I don't know how it does with the L lenses, the ISs. I have to see. Maybe the silent is just so
there's
you
still
don't
the
hear it.
USM lens is the ultra
Yeah,
silent.
maybe the
mode or whatever.
USM. I have to try it out to
Yeah.
see if it's a smooth. But that's pretty cool. So Borrow Lenses sent it out. I think I'm going to shoot a concert with that Silvertide. Somebody asked me, they're like, "Why don't you go shoot landscapes with a Why don't you shoot landscapes and portraits?" The reason I don't shoot landscapes and portraits when I test this stuff, one, I don't do landscapes personally. But if a camera can handle a concert situation,
handle anything.
It can handle anything.
I agree.
That's
You're
the thing.
putting it through its toughest area.
If it can work well and focus in low light, if it can get nice sharp images at higher ISOs, if it gets nice video there, then yes, in bright daylight at 100 ISO and for portraits, it's going to be perfectly fine.
Every sensor's going to look phenomenal of that kind of lighting and all that.
So I try not to worry about that stuff.
No, that's what I would do too. I would pick something that's not easy to,
To shoot.
yeah.
All right, Steven, I think it's time to send you away.
Kicking me out.
Don't trip on your lens on the way out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't trip on that.
I don't want to trip on that at all.
Watch the cameras. I'm going to start doing some flying solo.
Gotcha.
And you'll let me know what time we're at. just because if we go too long and I have too many flying solo questions, I may save them for next week because there are a lot of them to get into.
We are actually already at 45 minutes.
All right, so that gives me we'll do 20 minutes. Put 20 minutes on the clock.
That sounds good.
All right. Well, actually, the next time why don't you just reset the cameras now, Steven?
I'm going to reset them right now.
No, don't reset them now.
Okay, just kidding.
Because you still have, what, 7 minutes left?
I have 7, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get to these flying solo questions. Anything I don't get to this week, I will save for next week. And Steven's going to keep me abreast of the time. Oh, you want me to stop this camera?
Sure, why not?
All right, that camera's now stopped.
All right, cool.
So we save up on having to take extra gigs of files.
Yeah,
Troy
right.
Saldana. How are my levels?
They are good.
A website I joined for free contacts me when people need a photographer. The people post a brief summary of what type of photographer they need. If I'm interested, I have to pay $2 to $5 for the right to submit a bid. What do you think of this? So at first, your first gut instinct is like, hell no, I'm not doing that. This is now, crowdfunding has officially reached photography. I didn't ask what website this was, but this is like crowdfunding. 99 Designs, that's something where somebody says, I need X, and a bunch of people design the logo, say for a logo, for example, and then submit it, and only one person ends up getting paid. This is a little different because you're going to submit a proposal. Look, if it's only $2 to $5 for the opportunity and you fit the need, then it could be a good option. But if people are just price shopping, then I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole. If people are looking for the cheapest bid and that's what they're going to take, I wouldn't do it. But if people are looking for quality and aren't afraid to take a bid that's a little higher because they like your work, then I think this could be a good opportunity to get more jobs, especially to get in front of people that are looking to hire somebody. That is worth your $2 to $5. That's better spent than putting an ad in a newspaper that nobody does that anymore. But what?
No, just laugh because I don't think anyone does.
Yeah, so that's better than a traditional ad that may be seen by maybe 2 people that need a job. This puts you directly in front of somebody who's looking for a job. Maddie Wookie Simpson, do you think the new features coming into cameras like GPS and Wi-Fi are getting in the way of basic photography, or do you find that they are useful and needed? There's always useful things that come out of the woodworks. I don't think the GPS is useful. The Wi-Fi is another gimmicky type thing that most pros aren't using unless you're live transferring things real quick to your phone and then up to a server, but even then it's not hitting the raw files. So there are uses for these, but I don't think they're primary uses, and I think you're going to see more built-in GPS and more built-in Wi-Fi as the stuff gets smaller and smaller, as well as not only will they get smaller and smaller, but they'll use less power. Larry Sanders, our full-time stuttering. Steven, stuttering. Are full-time photographers starting to be a thing of the past? No, I think it's all the same. I think everything's relative. I think we have the same. Well, there's more people shooting now, but I think there are plenty of pros that are full-time.
I think a lot of people don't take a risk as often as they used to do.
Well,
like
yes.
trying to be a full-on photographer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I also don't think people should just take a risk just to take a risk before they have a clientele and an outlet.
I agree on that.
You know, that's the thing. I think a lot of people some people think that I'm ready to turn pro, and they're like, I quit my job to focus full-time on photography.
Yeah.
That's not the right thing to do anymore. I don't think that's worth it. No, I don't think full-time photographers are starting to become a thing of the past. The people that are going to break through are still going to break through. They would have broken through today, yesterday, or at the beginning of photography, because that's just how it is. Kieran Doherty. One more. If you could be animated for a celebrity death match, who would you want to fight, kill, and why?
Interesting.
I don't want to kill anybody, but for anybody who doesn't, do they still do celebrity death match?
No, I wish they did, man. I used to love that show.
I liked when like Marilyn Manson fought somebody.
Wouldn't he always like rip his rib cage out or something like that?
I don't know. It was kind of funny. Celebrity death match, I'm sure you could go on YouTube and find it, was a show on MTV where they would put 2 celebrities against each other as stop motion clay animation, and they'd have commentators, and it was just funny stuff would happen. I'm not going to answer this because I don't know who that I would want to fight or kill, because I don't want to kill anybody. I'm not that violent. So anyway, I just thought it was fun to bring up. Sam Powers, Jared and Steven, you guys shoot and save a lot of pictures. What is your preferred method for long-term storage of your images?
You gonna go
Steven.
first? Well, what I do is I have basically three USB 3.0, 3 terabyte hard drives, and they each back up each other. And what I usually do is I'll go through my pictures first, delete the ones that are clearly not in focus or something along those lines, or just bad composition in camera, and then upload the rest, and then pick my favorites from there. But like I said, each of those hard drives backs up each other each night. That's my preferred.
That's all on
storage.
location. Do you have anything off location?
Off location?
Yeah.
I have a Lacy. I forget what's Lacy rugged drive.
Yeah.
It's like a 1.1 terabyte drive, I think. I'll bring that for on location backup.
That's not what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what happens if your house burns down and all 3 hard drives are toast.
Oh, you mean like a cloud storage?
You have nothing off-site.
I have nothing off-site now.
Right. So here's an option for you guys.
Probably should.
Steven, you resetting my camera?
I will now.
All right. So here's an option for you guys. Amazon Glacier. It's a storage system in the cloud. It's going to cost you a couple bucks a month. I think it would maybe be $40 a month for 4 terabytes plus sending them a hard drive. Is such a great option. I really need to do it to send them 3 or 4 terabytes of my photos just so that they're in deep storage. It's your fourth line of defense. It's the one you hope you never use, but if you do need it, it's there and it's well worth it.
Yeah, I should probably look into that.
Yeah, you should probably look into that. I need to look into that. So basically what you do is you send them a hard drive in the mail. They'll send it back to you. There's a flat fee for sending it to them.
Oh, you physically send it?
You
wow.
physically send them a hard drive because it's just much easier to transfer 4 terabytes from the hard drive.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So they'll do that, and I think they'll send it back.
Wow.
And then you pay per month per the storage that you're using, but it's well worth it.
Yeah. Do you now what happens when you update your files, say a couple months later or a year later? Like, do you send the same thing?
You could start doing the uploading from your computer at that point.
Okay. I get it. There's
Then
probably
you're
like
gonna
a
move a couple
desktop
gigs at a
widget
time.
that'll automatically upload or something in the background.
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah, I need that.
Jose Garcia, it's all about good glass. If you had to, would you consider buying used glass, and what would you look for? Absolutely. A bunch of my lenses are used. My 300 2.8 is used. My 105 macro, I believe, was used. My 16 fisheye was used. My 70 to 200 version 1 was used also. So what you look for is that the lens works. There's no scratches on the glass, on the elements. Everything seems to be fine. Is there a 5-year warranty still with the Nikon? Canon doesn't give you the 5-year warranties. Sigma does a 6-year warranty. Other people do 4s, but the Nikons give you 5. So if you still have a warranty and the lens is warrantable, then it's almost like having a new lens. It's well worth it. So absolutely check out Alan's camera. And by the way, on September 21st, Saturday at Nikon-A-Palooza, you can get 10% off all used equipment that is in the store. So that is a good opportunity to get that in the store.
Yeah, and all my lenses I pretty much buy used as well. And now I have a brand new 50 millimeter.
Yeah, you didn't buy that one used.
I didn't buy that one used, nope. No, but yeah, I usually buy used just because it's so much cheaper. And like you said, it's the same kind of quality, everything looks new as long as you buy the right one.
Yes, if everything works, that's all that matters. And if it has the warranty, you can always send it in to be tweaked.
Yep.
Matthew Dunlap, with emphasis on landscape photography, if you could travel to anywhere on Earth, where would that be? What would you shoot? Let's see. I've never been to Australia, but I think like New Zealand would probably be pretty awesome. And then in the United States, a place like Colorado, Aspen is incredible, beautiful in, say, October. Just really blue skies. And
I'm going to do Joshua Tree.
Awesome. How about you, Steven?
Joshua Tree, or like you said, like Grand Canyon style, somewhere around there, maybe Red Rocks.
Oh, that's right. Grand Canyon would be awesome.
Yeah. My sister just traveled the whole United States this past summer, and she showed me a bunch of pictures from these great sites. I got to check that over.
Did she use her iPhone?
Yeah, she just used their phone most of the time.
Doesn't that just upset you?
A little bit.
You travel the whole world or the United States, and all you're taking are shitty snapshots with an iPhone.
Yeah. Well, I think she had a point and shoot as well, but I think that ran out of memory along the way or something like that. I forget what happened, but she used the phone most of the time.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know where I would go around the world though. I think Egypt.
Oh snap! I want to shoot the pyramids.
Yeah, I think the pyramids would be my go-to.
How much time are we in?
We are 54 minutes, so about 10 minutes left.
Sten Nyson. Is there a difference in the way you shoot photos when using a DX body compared to FX body, or is it the same for both? I shoot everything the same. I don't care what's in my hands. I still do the same composition. I still do the same type of settings. It's the same exposures. It's the same framing, because what you see in the camera is what you are going to get for the most part when you take the picture. So I shoot the DX the same exact way that I would shoot an FX. You?
Yeah, I agree. There's really nothing
not much else to
think about besides the crop factor.
Yep. Richard Ritter. I find a lot of similarities between you, Gary V, and Howard Stern. We're all Jewish, by the way.
Are you really?
Yeah, they're both Jewish. How have they influenced your style of social media interaction? Well, first off, Stern didn't.
He's influenced this podcast.
He didn't influence the social media interaction part because he didn't do a lot of that. Gary V is a strong person for the interaction part. I've emulated a bunch of things that Gary's talked about, but a lot of things that Gary talks about are pure common sense. He just has a way of saying it that kicks you in the ass and makes you think about it in a simpler term. He makes you think that there's no secrets. There are no secret or shortcuts to hard work. I mean, he tells you, do you want to know the secret to making $1 million? Work your face off, stuff like that. It's just, yes, there are sometimes shortcuts, but Gary V has been very good as a guide to know, as like a mentor, as somebody to talk to when I've got questions. But what I find out is that we kind of have the same mentality when it comes to how to do this social media stuff. There's things that he's doing, like YouTube, that I sit there and I go, Gary, you need a microphone. You need a microphone. Why don't you use better cameras when you're filming this stuff? I think your point would get across better, because he's spending a lot of time focusing on building his YouTube presence, which is something that I already have a YouTube presence. But he also has 1 million and some Twitter followers. So he's built a huge.
Wow, he's got 1 million.
He's always had. He's had 1 million,
That's
but
crazy.
I think he may have dropped a little bit in the past. But I like listening to Gary talk. I think it's a great kick in the ass for a lot of people. So how about Stern? Me interrupting you is a Stern thing. He's interrupting Robin all those years, but it's not on purpose. It's just part of it. Stern he's the show. He's meant to ask questions. He's meant to interrupt guests on occasions and talk. But obviously, it's just the way that Stern says it like it is. Perfectly awesome,
Yeah.
So in terms of influence, it's just anybody that does any radio or podcast thinks back how a interview show would do. I think this podcast is so much different than what a lot of other photography podcasts are, that sit at home and have people Skype in and they do Google Hangouts. I just find them to be less personable, and then they just talk about gear. And it's not the same as if I'm sitting across from Steven and I can hand him a 51.2. It's not the same results. So there are other photo podcasts out there, but I like to think you've got people in the studio. We do this quality stuff. We've got 3 cameras. We've got the GoPro, which is the least of the quality, but that's the wide angle. Then we've got the D800 back here. We've got a D4 over there. We've got these awesome Rode microphones. Steven's on the Zoom H6 over there with his Rode microphone. And to me, it's just about quality.
It's totally quality.
You try to do the best quality you can, and we're going to continue to build and evolve.
I think we're doing pretty good with that too. I hope people respect the fact that we try and make this the best possible kind of quality podcast for what we're dealing with.
Well, tell people how long it takes you to edit this podcast.
It takes basically like hours to edit this podcast, because I have to edit in real time, cut the camera angles, just putting everything on my computer. We have usually deal with
32 gigs.
32 gigs? I
feel
like
it's usually because sometimes I fill up a 32 gig and then give you the 16, but there's only, the GoPro itself is going to be anywhere from 12 to 15 gigs. My D4 angle is going to be another 12 gigs.
Yeah.
The audio is the least. It's like 600 megs it's about 300 an hour per channel. And then your D800.
For those that don't realize too, the audio I actually compress myself. It's not straight out of the microphone kind of thing. I'm using a software compressor versus a hardware compressor, so it just sounds a lot more bulkier and boomier and like more radio boomified, if you may.
Yeah. So we put
a lot into it basically.
Yeah, and so both of those people have influenced me. If you don't know Gary V, check him out.
What's his last name for people that are wondering?
Gary Vaynerchuk. He runs a thing now called VaynerMedia. He's building a huge business over there. He's just a very interesting guy to listen to. He's got a new book coming out called Jab, 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 Right Hook. First one was Crush It. Second one was the Thank You Economy, which is kind of exactly the model that I've actually never read that book fully, but it's when it came out, I was like, this is exactly what I'm doing with my site already. So we kind of have the same mentalities. He's just really successful in that. And Stern is just Stern. I love listening to him. Obviously, he puts on a show. That's his thing. He's not the same guy off air as he is on air.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I'm the same way. I mean, I'm very similar on air and off air, but not everything is what you see all the time.
Exactly.
So good question.
Yeah, very good.
I guess I'll just finish this page.
Yeah, you got about 5 minutes, or you can go on a little longer if you want.
Mike Jansen, what batteries do you use for your speed lights? Jared and Steven. I use lithium. I use E-squareds, those lithium AA's. That's what I like to use. They last long, they refresh quick, and then they're done. But they're more expensive and they're not rechargeable, so you do throw them out.
Yeah, I use very similar ones, but mine are rechargeable. I use the Sanyo Any Loops. And I thought it was Any Loops.
Any Loops.
Oh, N Loops, Any Loops, whatever it is. I love them. They're great. You can buy 2 different versions. There's like the Pro X brand, which is like really expensive, or like the white basic brand. And the thing about them is very fast recycle times, just like Jared said. And there's also just, they die though. That's the only thing.
Well, that's the thing.
When they die, they die.
Well, that's what happens with
power
lithiums.
All the way up until they die.
Well, the lithiums are
So
yeah.
always
lithiums
carry an extra pair like in your pocket just to be safe or something, if you know you're not going to be near your bag.
And there's a lot of, like at BJ's, I spent $11.99 for 48 batteries, AA's yesterday.
Yeah.
They're Berkeley and Jensen batteries. We use them I use them in my battery packs for the microphones and stuff. Not these, but my other mics.
Yeah, I used to use all alkaline for my flashes, but the thing is, they slowly die over time. The recycle time
and the
gets
lithiums
really
don't
bad.
die until they die.
Exactly, yeah.
Chris Crane, Battlecat or Panther? Steven? Do you even know who Battlecat is?
I don't.
He-Man.
Okay. Is that cartoon character looking dude?
Oh, Jesus, Steven. Will you please?
When was this made, first of all?
He-Man! 1985? 84?
Yeah. I was born in 1988, so I did not watch that.
Well, so what totally gave me a false feeling of what my body should look like was He-Man, because he's a cartoon character that is steroided out his ass.
Isn't he the one that it's always in like the memes and stuff? Or there's always like quick parody clips with him?
No. So
No?
He-Man
I feel like there is.
He-Man, his name is Adam. He's kind of like Superman because he's Adam, but then he turns into He-Man. He's this prince or something of some castle, Grayskull, and he's got a bunch of sidekicks. He's got Orko, who's this thing.
Yeah, I know who. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now on Google. And
now you're looking it up? Steven's looking up
exactly
He-Man.
who I'm thinking of, this guy.
I don't know who Panther is.
I don't know who Panther is.
I thought Battlecat was He-Man.
You don't know who Panther is?
I could be totally backwards. But anyway, I'd go with the He-Man. Anyway, He-Man, Steven, there's... I've got the power of Grayskull! And then he would fight Skeletor.
Oh, Panther is Skeletor's evil feline companion.
Oh, okay, so he's the purple one.
He's the purple one, yes.
And then Battlecat is the camouflagey looking one with the green and the stripes.
I'll tell you in 5 seconds.
Hurry up, look it up.
I'm looking it up right now.
I think it's Battlecat.
Is a fictional character. Yeah, that's the camouflage looking one.
Good. I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
I figured it out. Well, I am for good, and I like He-Man, so I'm going to stick with Battlecat over Panther. But by the way, Panther is probably Battlecat's long-lost stepbrother, and they probably had a fight somewhere. There should be a total spin-off of Battlecat versus Panther.
I'm surprised you didn't do Panther because he's purple.
Yeah, I like purple.
I know.
I have Skull Mountain, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
You know what Skull Mountain? Skull Mountain, well, I'll tell a story about how I got it, but Skull Mountain had a microphone inside that would modulate your voice. It would just like echo. It was an echoing thing, and it would
talking into the fan.
You would talk into it, and it would play back. So this is how I got Skull Mountain. So I was learning to ride my bike, and I was starting to learn for some reason. I needed that extra push. So my dad goes, if you ride your bike to the end of the block, we lived at like a T block. So it was at the top. It was like a cul-de-sac, but not a cul-de-sac. And he says, if you ride your bike to the end of the way, we'll go to Kitty City. And for anybody who knows who Kitty City is, do you know what Kitty City is?
I don't.
Oh, Jesus. So if you ride to the end of the block, we'll go to Kitty City and you can pick anything you want. So for anybody who doesn't know what Kitty City is, You know what Toys R Us is?
Yes, I do.
Well, Toys R Us has a giraffe, right?
Okay.
Jeffrey the giraffe.
Yeah.
Kitty City had a kangaroo. Timmy the kangaroo. It wasn't Timmy. Shit. It was Jeffrey the giraffe and damn it, look it up, Stephen, for me.
I am.
Kitty City. Well, anyway, Kitty City was like that. They went out of business. So I rode to the end of the block, but the one thing they never told me was how to stop. So I fell off and scraped my knee. But I ended up getting Skull Mountain out of it. Jacob Muxel, wedding potential client, want unedited RAW files. I say no. What is your view on this?
Huh.
Did you find...
No, I'm looking it up. It's not showing anything.
Yeah, be
though.
careful what you look up when you type in kitty.
I know.
Anyway,
how's it spelled? Is it just regular like kitty how you would think it?
Yeah, Kitty City.
Okay.
They had a
There's a lot
kangaroo.
of Kitty City stuff.
I know.
There's no.
But anyway, Stephen.
Yeah. What's up?
Wedding potential client wants unedited RAW files. I say no. What is your view on this? Would you give them the RAW files?
I would say no as well.
Why?
Because I like to have a finished product for them, not straight out of camera kind of thing. And
So-
the RAW file is not meant to really give to someone. I feel like.
But somebody's offering you $3,500 to shoot their wedding.
That's true. That
Are
is true.
you going to turn that down for files that you'll never use again?
Huh.
See,
could I give them a TIFF file instead?
No, they want the RAW files for whatever reason, like the thing you sent me the other day. They want the RAW files though they can't open them.
Yeah, exactly.
Here is what I personally would... I had a client ask me, they were a photographer, they had a 5D. They asked me for the RAW files.
I'd probably do it.
I'm charging them $4,000 or more for a wedding. Am I going to turn down that profit, that photo, that day of shooting because I want to feel like I don't want to give them my RAW files? I still went ahead and edited the RAW files. What I could have done, I could have exported DNGs, and I told them, you're only going to get the ones that I edit, the keepers. So I gave them all the keepers, like 450, 500 RAW files. They gave me a hard drive to put them on. I put it on the hard drive, and then I sent them on their way. Because why do I need that? Do I need to sit on those RAW files? Would I rather have a payday? Take the freaking money and run. If somebody's offering you money and then they go, oh, we would like the RAW files, go ahead, edit the RAW files, save them as a DNG so the RAW files are, or actually, if you save it as a DNG, they're going to need to have Lightroom to do it. But they could always get Lightroom for 30 days and have it.
Yeah.
Or rent it for $9.99 from the cloud. So really, there's no excuses now, but I would absolutely take the job. I would tell them how I work, that I'm not giving them every single file.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them the ones that are the keepers, but I would absolutely do it.
Well, it's like, think about when you get married or when I get married, like I'm thinking like, I don't know. Am I going to want that? Am I going to want the RAW files?
When my brother got married, I asked for the RAW files.
Did you? And they do it?
Yeah. They also paid this piece of crap photographer $600.
Wait, for the RAW files?
No, for the whole day of shooting.
Only 600?
And of course, you know, his camera failed twice when I was doing something.
He didn't have a backup camera?
There was no picture of me coming down the aisle, walking in as the best man.
That's the best man?
Yeah.
Wow.
But everybody else did. He's just said his camera locked up.
Interesting. Not
Yeah.
fast cards or something?
No, I just think that he was being a dick. because I shot pictures outside that are much nicer than his.
Interesting.
Punk. Brian Windsor, 16mm fisheye, to buy or not to buy? That is the question. Hell no on the Nikon side. On the Canon side, they've got a 15 fisheye, absolutely worth it. The reason I say hell no on the 16 fisheye for Nikon is the fact that how are we doing on time on my camera over here?
We got about another minute.
On this camera?
Mm-hmm.
You have to reset it?
No, it's got 3 minutes, but I'm going to reset it in a minute.
Oh, all right. Absolutely do not buy the current Nikon version. They have not upgraded this lens in 10 years. I don't even know when it came out. It doesn't even have AFS in it. It's a crappy lens in my opinion. At this point, it is not sharp. It does not give me nice colors. It does not give me nice tones. I hate using that lens because it is not sharp edge to edge. It's sharp in the middle, but it sucks around the edges. We need a new 16mm fisheye from Nikon. It needs to be a 2.8. It needs to freaking work, and please come out with one soon. So, my answer is no.
I use a Sigma circular one, but I rarely use it. I mean, it's more for creative purposes versus like actually to use for, say, a client or something.
Steven, I only have one more question here.
Cool.
If you don't, do you want to reset it?
Yeah, I think it's safe to reset it.
Heikman Najaj, NAJJAJ. Hi, Jared. I have a question about your I don't crop philosophy. My lenses tend to zoom in and out a bit while focusing, especially the Sigma 17-50 2.8 OS. This might screw up a composition, in which case I would prefer to compose a bit wider and solve in Lightroom. How do you deal with this? I've never, ever thought about this. I mean, the focusing isn't going to change your composition very much. If it's out of focus, as it pulls into focus, yes, it's a little wider because that's just how the focusing works, but you're not, I don't think it's extreme at all. I don't think that this is anything to worry about. I think what you see is what you get. So when it's in focus, you either zoom in or you zoom out. You know what I'm saying, Steven?
I know what you're saying.
So I think that this just may be overcomplicating something here. What you see in your camera is basically what you're going to get. Maybe on the DX side, you're only showing 98% in the viewfinder, so you may get a little bit more. You may get a little more of the image after the fact, which is something that I learned with my D2H that wasn't full 100% coverage. That if I shot somebody's head in the viewfinder and the top of their head was touching the top of the frame, that
You'd have a couple inches.
There would be daylight there after the fact.
Yeah.
So, Steven.
Yes, sir.
We've come to the end. I want to remind people about, well, anyway, people keep asking about the flash guide. It's close. Hopefully by the end of September, it will be ready to launch. Maybe at Nikon-A-Palooza, if I can have the DVDs ready, I may have them there. I don't know. It's going to be close, but it's darn close. We're almost there to get that out to you, and everybody has loved it. I've watched it 3 times.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
I just saw the teaser video too, and it looks pretty
The trailer
solid.
video is really good.
It looks really good, dude. That editor,
really good.
whoever you got, he's good.
We have a good editor.
Yeah.
I have a good editor. Todd Wolf of Cheesesteak Media.
He's good
So
people.
anyway, want to thank Alan's Camera, actually thank Nikon for being a sponsor of the podcast and also helping with Nikon-A-Palooza or Alan's Nikon-A-Palooza on September 21st, 2013. It's 11 to 4, or you can show up at any time, 10 to whenever. Free prizes, thousands of dollars of things to do, giveaways, 10% off used gear, and a taco truck. And thank Rode for these microphones again. Steven, thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Good news this week. We'll be back next week with a different type of show because we'll explain that when we get to that show. So this has been RAWtalk episode number 52. DSLRs are dead. I'm Jared Polin. That's not how I normally say it. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.